Welcome, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising to your November 2025 horoscope. I'm Sarah at Life with Training Wheels, where I utilize astrology and other tools to help you grow into the highest and best version of yourself, to help you realize that you have more power than you think you do, to control the life that you have, and to take your power back, basically, and to break the chains of any victim mentality that you have, and to always see the silver lining in whatever is happening in your life. It sure does make a life a lot more fun to look at in that manner, and if I can help guide you to do that and to have more fun in life, then I think I'm doing a good job. I am a Western tropical zodiac astrologer utilizing the whole sign house system. So you'll want to look to your rising sign first watching these horoscopes, because that'll set up the house system and where things are actually falling for you in your chart. And then you would look at your sun sign, because that will show you like where you're more career focused and driven maybe. And then if you watch for your moon sign, that'll indicate where you're feeling things maybe more emotionally, or how you're feeling things within the home. If you are new here and this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for joining me. If you are returning, thank you so much for returning. And if you could give me a like, a subscribe, a comment, anything like that, it really does help me out as this channel grows, because I'm just a newbie beginner channel. So any way you can interact with this video will greatly help me out, and I do appreciate it. So first things first, before you watch this video, I highly recommend you watch this video over here, the collective reading, because there are a few things that I go over in that collective reading that I'm not going to go over in this one. The main thing being that that Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all staying within 1 degree this whole month long. So in that collective reading video, I went through the Sabian symbols and read what the Sabian symbol for each of those degrees are, and it really adds a lot of depth to the conversation. So you could go watch that and then have it in mind for coming back to this video and where these planets are for you, and it might add some depth to your individual reading as well. I will also add a link right here and in the description box below for a video I have if you're not sure how to pull up your own natal chart. You can watch that video and I walk you through it. And then just some other basic housekeeping. I have launched your first astrology course. I've emailed out the first course, or the first week's video already, but it is basically a 6-week or so long course that takes you from pulling up your birth chart to walking through what a layout of the astrology wheel looks like, means, and then getting into the houses, the signs, the planets, what they all mean, how to put them all together. Then we go over your sun, moon, and rising sign, and then finally I end up kind of teaching you how to take discussions like this, or just the collective reading, and applying it to your natal chart so you can see how it affects you personally and where things might be hitting your own personal planet. So if you're interested in that, link is in the description below. And then I'm also trying to get a Patreon group membership going too, where I would teach a topic about your natal chart or astrology every month, and then you would get a 20-minute personal reading based on whatever that topic is that month. So it's kind of like a getting to know yourself better every month group. So if you are interested in that, link is in the description below for that as well. And finally, just before we pull up the chart, if you are not going to watch the collective reading, I just wanted to give a brief overview. There is a lot happening this month and we are going to go through it, but the main thing that's going on and the main thing that we're going to look at first is that there's a Grand Water Trine going on the entire month long. And so we're going to look to see where the water signs fall in the chart for you. But this is pretty key because since it's going on all month, it's a big month of learning to go with the flow, number one, since it's water signs. It's also potentially going to be a very emotional month for everybody since it's water signs. But water also does provide a lot of opportunity for healing, both physical healing and a lot of psychological healing. These are the water signs are some of the deepest signs. Scorpio wants transformation and wants you to go where you have fear and guilt and shame and bring compassion and love to it. Pisces is the sign of compassion and love and spirituality. And then Cancer is where we want to feel emotionally safe. It's where we feel protective of our home and our loved ones and our people, but mostly where we need to feel safe within our own bodies, within our own home environment, and it's where we feel it's where we're most connected to our emotions. So that is a big deal. And then we also go over, so when there's this water trine or a lot of trine energy or sextile energy, that's where the energy is flowing and it's moving easy and there's a lot of opportunities and things being presented to you. But sometimes it's flowing so easy that you may miss seeing the opportunities that are there for you, and sometimes you need a little challenge, a little friction to really take advantage of what's being presented to you and the energy that's being presented to you. So the other thing that we have going on all month long is Jupiter, which is part of this water trine, is also in a continuous square to Chiron, your wounded I am, where you felt small and put yourself last and stuff like that for the sake of others. Your wounding that you have there, keeping your voice down, not being seen and heard and things like that. So there's an abundance of opportunity for healing, and that might be one of the ways to activate all this energy and these blessings. The other thing that's keeping this Grand Trine active are all the personal planets moving through Scorpio. So there will be a continuous opposition between all the planets in Scorpio and Uranus, the planet of disruption and shaking things up and sudden insights and intuition and things like that. So if things get stuck, Uranus might help break them free. And considering there's going to be a pretty constant square or opposition to Uranus, there could be some bumpy things this month, but you have all that trine energy to support you in it. So now let's go ahead and bring up your chart. Okay, so we have your chart up on the screen here. So this is the water trine that we are talking about here. And so this is going to be affecting your second house, your sixth house, and your 10th house. So November most likely is going to be a very work and career and money driven month, right? The second house, which is where Pisces is very much a house of money. It's your own personal money. It is how you save, what you do with the money when you earn it. It is your earned money. It is your value system as well. So anytime the second house is involved, I always recommend people just take a minute to think about the things that they say they value, and whether it's, spending money on things or spending time, and looking at if you actually do that in practice or if there are any adjustments that need to be made there. But yeah, this is your own personal finances. Sixth house is your daily habits, your health, your routines, and your work. Second house with the value system, it can also be connected to the way we eat and the way we treat our bodies, the food that we put in our mouths, how we nourish ourselves, things like that, because it's your value system, and it does have connections to like agriculture and things like that. And with the sixth house being related to health, daily habits, routines, that's also how you treat yourself. Like what you're eating on a daily basis, things like that. This could also be a month of focusing on your health. But with it being with the 10th house connection here, I think it's probably more to do with work, but it could be a bit of both. But yeah, so 6th house is our work, because it's part of our daily habits and routines. It's also the house of how we serve others, things like that. And then the 10th house, of course, is the house of career or public image, how you're showing up in the world, who people know you to be. So those are the houses that are going to be involved, and let's go into each of them a little bit deeper to see what might be coming to you. But especially the fact that Jupiter here, we'll start with Jupiter, I guess, because Jupiter is involved. Jupiter is the greatest benefic planet, right? Jupiter expands things, it brings good luck, it brings opportunities. So it should be, bringing lots of opportunities to the 10th house and the 2nd house. So opportunities to your work and opportunities to your values, your material possessions, things like that. As well as just overall in the 6th house, bringing luck and abundance and opportunities for sticking to any health routine that you would like to. Since Jupiter expands things and this is the house of work, you might be really busy with work this month. But because it's Jupiter, it's a lot of opportunities that are behind this work. So even if you may not see the rewards of the work or whatever right away, and you're feeling just really busy, it could be that you're setting things up for the future, right? But it is good to be mindful of how much work you're doing and things like that, which we'll get to here in a second. But yeah, and also with it expanding things in the house of health, it could be a month where you're holding on to, because cancer's water, so it could be a month that you're holding on to more water weight than you normally do, or things like that. That's on the more negative side, but overall it should really bring luck and opportunities to your health and to your work. If you're looking to hire people, or if you're just looking to do something greater or better in your work, or looking for new work opportunities or something like that, there should be some this month for you. Then let's go ahead and talk about the 2nd house. This is where you have been working with Saturn and Neptune for quite some time. Saturn is probably what you felt more personally, because sometimes the outer planets, they move so slow. We can see the progress that we've made over their entire transition through a sign, but we don't feel it quite as immediately. Whereas Saturn has been here for only, 2.5 years in this sign for you, but it being in a sign of finances and values, you've probably had a lot going on within your value system, within your monetary system. Maybe Pisces is usually where we, maybe wherever it falls, maybe that's somewhere where we struggle with boundaries and rules and restrictions, and are kind of a little bit more like, doesn't really matter, right? So with this being in your second house over the last 2 years with Saturn working with you, maybe your finances have been kind of wonky, or you're realizing you need to have more of a budget, or just deal with your finances head on. Maybe you haven't had a real clear structure around them, and Saturn is now coming back retrograde again to complete working with you on the lessons that it's been trying to teach you over the last couple years, and really wanting you to get it right before you move into the next phase of your life and creating the brand new you that you want to create. But before you're able to create this brand new you have to really have a solid footing, which is what Saturn brings, in your value system, in your finances, in your budgeting, things like that. So this is something that you will have a chance to work with and have a lot of opportunities with the entire month, right? Coming from both your work and your daily habits and routines. And then with Neptune here, that's been working with us too about, especially in the second house of finances and value system and things like that. Neptune is where we can be deceived or deceive ourselves. It's where we can be a little bit too, have too many rose-colored glasses on, be a little bit delusional. But it also, so those are the more negative aspects. So that's something, while it's retrograde, you're going to want to look at before it, stations direct and finishes its cycle, is where have you deceived yourself in your finances? Where have you maybe thought you could do more than you could, or have these big dreams but haven't had Saturn here to really ground those dreams into reality, right? Neptune is the dream. Saturn is bringing it into the material world. So you're getting a lot of opportunities to dream, to continue dreaming the money that you want, and how you want to bring in this money, and the value system that you have. You're allowed to continue dreaming that, but focusing on how to make it a reality as well, right? Realizing where you may be delusional or deceiving yourself in your ideas, and what can actually come to existence, come into existence. And with Neptune, this energy goes both ways too. Neptune and Pisces are dissolvers, but Neptune is a dissolver. So it's dissolving boundaries, restrictions, habits, things within this area of your life that no longer serve you. And then Saturn goes the other way, and it wants to build structure around the dreams that you have. So it's working, this energy is working with you in both of those ways. But especially with Saturn, you kind of want to have things figured out by the end of the month, because it will be turning direct on the 27th. And once it moves into Aries, I believe next year, it won't be returning back to Pisces. So the lessons that you've been learning over the last 2.5 years, this month is your month to finally button up and nail down those lessons. So then we come up here to your 10th house in Scorpio. And this is where you're going to have a lot of movement. It's most likely going to be a very busy work month, career month for you. Perhaps there's new opportunities coming for you, but Scorpio is what's really keeping this Grand Trine active the whole month, with the parade of planets that are going through there. So like right now at the beginning of the month, Mars is the one that's activating, and Lilith, but Mars is the one that's activating this trine. So Mars, especially in Scorpio, really wants to dig for the truth. It wants to dig in. It's giving you the motivation and the willpower to go into the depths of those dark places where you might feel fear, shame, and guilt, and giving you the warrior spirit to be able to deal with that, but is also, bringing that truth and that motivation to your work. So like with this trine, you might feel very motivated at work, and with this trine to the second house, you might feel motivated to really get your finances in order and things like that. So that higher vibration energy of Mars is being brought out by this trine to really give you the motivation to go there. Then we also will have the sun meeting up over here in these final degrees, making this trine, which, when the sun is there, that's where wherever the sun is where we're really focused, right? That's where our purpose, our current purpose, is being felt, and where we need to focus things on. So you'll be, when the sun is active here, you'll be really focused on your career and on these things as well, bringing blessings, bringing light, really, to be able to see any opportunities and to see what needs to happen, right? It shines the light on things. And then we're also going to have Venus over here later in the month activating this, bringing some love and potentially some financial opportunities as well, and just bringing, kind of where Venus is where we might be magnetized. So bringing opportunities of people or partnerships or things like that to all of these areas of our life. And then Mercury retrograde is going to be coming back into Scorpio and interacting with this as well. So Mercury in Scorpio is really also diving deep into the scorpionic, right? Like wanting to find the truth, wanting to see things for what they are, maybe bringing changes in mindset, things like that. So that is really cool. The other thing, all the water signs are very intuitive. They can be very psychic. So with the water trine, everybody's going to be feeling, everybody who's open to it is going to be feeling perhaps a little bit more intuitive. Perhaps there might be some psychic abilities coming online. So if there's any way that you can use these abilities in your work and career and finances, that would be fantastic. But it could just be that you're having greater intuitive awareness all month long about your money and your work and how you structure your day and things like that will get you to where you want to go. So pay attention to the things that are coming to your mind about these topics all month long, and that should serve you well. So then, like I talked about at the beginning too, sometimes when we have this trine energy and the opportunities are flowing so greatly and so freely, sometimes we miss the opportunity because things just seem to flow and we think it's just going to happen for us, but then we forget to act on it and then it passes us by. So luckily, we have a few points of challenge being presented to us this month, and one is this ongoing square between Jupiter in your 6th house of daily habits and routines and Chiron in your 3rd house of communication, social media, marketing, commerce, business, siblings, short distance travel, things like that. This square, squares usually want us to act. They want us to make a decision. They want us to do something in order to solve this conflict. But with Jupiter, even though there's a tension, Jupiter likes to bring opportunities, right? So I feel like this is a great month for maybe taking all this beautiful energy, right, and apply it to your healing. So the Chiron in Aries are wounds regarding our I am energy. So where you may have kept yourself small, or especially in the 3rd house, not used your voice, been afraid to speak up, not shown up in conversation or communication fully yourself because you're afraid maybe of what the other person might think of you or how they may react or things like that. So this is giving a lot of opportunity for that type of healing. And sure, even though it's benefic, it may be uncomfortable type things, but it's going to provide a lot of healing and growth, with it being the 3rd house and all these being, financially related. 3rd house can very well be financially related. It's related to commerce. It is related to, like I said, marketing and things like that. So really, this could be a good month to really put yourself out there, launch a product, have your voice be heard, and not be afraid of it being heard. And then the other thing is, as these planets parade through the final degrees of Scorpio, they are all going to be making this opposition to Uranus. For the first 7 days, Uranus is going to remain in Gemini, but it is going to retrograde back into Taurus. But regardless, Uranus is the planet of where we want to break out of the box. It's also the planet of where disruptions may just be, it may be felt like it's just happening to us. Keep in mind, if you do feel that energy, that life is always happening for you, trying to get you to raise to a level, up your game, so to speak, shake you out of situations or scenarios that you shouldn't be in, but maybe you're too afraid to do anything out. That is something that Uranus does for us. But it's also, you can activate Uranus yourself, right? You can be the one shaking things up. So with it being in Gemini, it's going to shake things up in your 5th house. So this is your house of children, romantic partners, joy, creativity, your inner child, where you have fun, right? So there could be some shakeups in the early part of the month, including today. This looks like a pretty exact opposition here between Mars and Uranus. So there could be some tension between your career and your romantic partners or your children, or your entrepreneurship, right? Fifth house can also be entrepreneurship. So maybe there's something that needs to be balanced here. And oppositions are usually about balance. It's both sides wanting to be equal, right? And so sometimes it brings to our attention where we may be too focused on one thing and not focused enough on the other thing. So there could be that challenge here. And in the fifth house, like I said, it could be related to your entrepreneurship. It could be related to your children, your romantic partner, but you could be feeling that tension there for balance between work and those things. And then when Uranus retrogrades back into Taurus, where it's been, and giving you a final opportunity to look at things, which we'll talk about later in the month. But then this opposition is going to be asking for the balance between work and home, right? Fourth house is our home. It's our own emotional world where we feel safe within ourselves, but also where we feel safe within our home life. So this is a big thing that, a lot of people struggle with, that balance between work and home, the home life balance. So that is potentially where you could find some activation and opportunity to bring out the best of what this trine is offering you, right? So maybe there's some work from home opportunities that are going to be showing up for you. We'll talk about the specifics of those things as they arise. So that is something I do post in either shorts or longer form videos, daily astrology as well. So when these things become exact through the month, I will be talking about them. So remember to hit the like and subscribe button so you can know when I'm doing that and know when I upload those daily things. Okay, so that's really it for the Grand Water Trine and kind of those oppositions and squares to get the most out of it. But then let's talk about the other things that are happening. So tomorrow on the 4th is when Mars will be moving into Sagittarius, bringing our willpower, desires, strength, stamina to our 11th house. Then on the 5th, we have a full moon in Taurus in our 4th house, bringing our focus here. I'll be putting up a separate video for that. And then the 7th, like I said, we have Uranus retrograding back into Taurus. So a lot of focus on Taurus this month as well, at least at the beginning. And then on the 9th, Mercury is going to station retrograde, where it'll be in Sagittarius until the 18th. And then it'll retrograde back into Scorpio, and it won't turn direct until the 29th, so until the very end of the month. So with Mercury retrograde, of course, we're going to see Mercury retrograde type things, potential miscommunication, potential disruptions in technology or travel plans or things like that. But also, while it's in your 11th house, there might be some specific communication regarding your friends, the groups that you belong to, things like that. And then when Mercury retrogrades into Scorpio, it'll give you a chance to really, Scorpio wants to go deep, so it'll give you a chance to go deep, and Mercury retrograde is more internal, so into your psyche, related to your career and shadow work and things like that. maybe mindset shifts regarding your career might come up, things of that nature. And then Jupiter on the 11th will turn retrograde, and it'll be retrograde in Scorpio for the rest, or in Cancer for the rest of the month. So when Jupiter turns retrograde, sometimes it can bring back missed opportunities. So there might be some missed opportunities in health, or maybe you've tried some things that haven't worked out and you're going to go try some other things that have worked for you in the past. You're going to remember what they are and put them into action, or missed opportunities in work that you are going to revisit, things of that nature. And then on the 19th, there will be the new moon in Scorpio that will be activating this water trine. So that'll be a very potent new moon, and I'll do a separate video for that as well. But that'll be bringing a lot of new opportunities for you in regards to your 10th house of career. And then on the 27th, Saturn will turn direct. And like I talked about a little bit before, but I think that this is beautiful that Saturn, out of all the planets, is the first one to turn direct, because Saturn is really what we build our foundations. It's our structures, it's our institutions, right? So sometimes that can be a bad thing, but when we are trying to build a new life, build the new version of us that we want to build the new society that we so desperately need, but doing our part by working on ourselves first, we need to start with the foundation, right? You don't start a house without building the foundation, laying the foundation first. So with Saturn turning direct first, I think that that's really what this is indicating to us, is take it slow. You've had all these planets retrograde for so long. You know now what you need to do, how to set up your value system, how to set up your finances, how to utilize your resources. Now let's build a foundation so that you can really jump into being the best version of you that you're going to be in the future. So that's really beautiful to me. So that's really it for this month's forecast. Like I said earlier, I do post the daily astrology as well. Typically they are in the shorts, but sometimes if there's a lot of astrology going on and a lot to talk about, they do end up being longer videos as well. But check out that, hit the like, subscribe, so you'll know when I do that if you're interested. And then also comment below with how you're feeling this energy, and come back to it throughout the month and let me know how things are manifesting for you. I'd really love to read that and see that. And I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you back here next month.